Snacks, welcome to the show. Today we have an amazing guest for you, Ken Levin. This is part 2. We had so much fun that Ken's coming back for part 2. He's been working as a property master in Hollywood for more than 4 decades. He's worked on some of our most favorite movies and TV shows like Mystic Pizza with Julia Roberts. He was a lead man on Breaking 2 and Electric Boogaloo. He worked on the original Lizzie McGuire and The Wizards of Waverly Place, hanging out with people like Selena Gomez, Justin Bieber, Taylor Swift, and also he saw young Austin Butler, who is in Elvis. And then also, he just did the up-and-coming Lyle Crocodile for Sony Pictures, a kid show, and he just penned a novel, Great Exploitations, a Hollywood Fable. So let's find out about this TV writer fired for ageism, who rockets back with a smash hit, and everything goes great. So let's welcome Ken back to the show. Hi, Ken.
How you doing, Merlin? Thank you for having me back. It's wonderful to be here.
Yeah, we're just having so much fun. All the way from Upper West Side, New York. Your dad's amazing restaurants where Milton Berle comes in and Al Pacino. Did you say hi to Al Pacino or any of them? Did you ever talk to? You did?
I did. And Dustin Hoffman as well, right after he did Midnight Cowboy.
Are you serious? Dustin Hoffman?
Yes. Yeah, right. And Midnight Cowboy, which he was a huge picture. He was Academy Award winner.
He was just a phenomenal actor. I'd love to have him on the show. If anybody wants to ask Dustin if he likes to be on the show, wouldn't it be amazing? Like, hey, Dustin, hi. I heard you were hanging out at Ken's dad's restaurant eating some fettuccine or who knows. I don't know. Do they do carbs? Do actors do carbs? The biggest question. To carb or not to carb? Yeah. So, did you ever just talk to them and say hi, or did you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, you also have to understand that as a property master, you have to work intimately with actors. Like, I did a remake of The Fugitive a couple of years ago with Kiefer Sutherland. And you have to be very close, right next to them, all the time. You're the one that's handing them their props in the morning and taking away their props in the afternoon, and and giving them whatever they need in the middle of the day. So yeah, it's very interesting, and it is. Listen, it's not for everyone. It's a very high stress environment. You're working for sometimes 14 or 16 hours a day. On a long day, even longer on some days. So it's hard. It's a hard business. It's a hard business to break into. It's a hard business to stay in. It's a hard business to have a family in too.
And you've been in the business 4 decades. Can you tell us a little secret? Like, how do you prepare for these 14 and 15-hour days? Because when you work on a movie, they're at months at a time. You do 5 days or 6 days a week? 5 days.
Every project that you do, depending on a movie, like TV series have different formats. Like, for instance, if you're doing a sitcom shoots generally 2 days a week, and they have rehearsals for 3 days a week. So that's the way Wizards worked. But other shows that we would call single camera, they shoot every day. And they'll take maybe 5 days to shoot one episode, and then you start the next episode. So as a property master, I'm always preparing the episode ahead of the one that's currently being shot. And then my crew is handling what's on the set today.
Oh, wow. So, like, what's the most dangerous prop that you had to worry, like, with the actor safety, and how do you handle that safety issue?
Well, we have to, in light of the movie Rust, and that whole debacle with Alec Baldwin and the director of photography being shot, I had people calling me out of the woodwork to ask what happened there, how did that happen, and it was negligence. And part of that negligence, if you ask any of us on the inside, we'll tell you it's because it's a low budget movie and they try and skimp and save at every corner. And one of the places they did was to not give the property master or the armorer the correct amount of assistance. And they're handling far more than they should be handling at that time. And a mistake happened, and it's a tragic mistake, and it's a lot of people's faults. And, I can go into what should have happened and what shouldn't have happened. But, what happened was way out of line. There was no protocol followed in that particular thing. But I don't want to be downer. That's, that's a downer thing. Let's talk about more fun things than that.
Yeah. So what's like a fun prop that you made? Like, because you did Wizard, because I wrote a Wizard book, and I know you're writing some kids' book, because like like when you see Harry Potter, like the floors moving and all that stuff. Because like when I write, I can like make anything up. Like the skull, we were talking about the skull and the bowling ball. Because like
Yes,
when
yes.
you write, I was a filmmaker too, but like I would get so frustrated, like I didn't have the money or the budget to put like all these famous people, and didn't have like a great DP or editor, and you just need all this money. But when you write pen and paper or on your computer, you can create all these things. So I've been creating all these like um my kids podcast and Tony book readings for 3 years, all these stories from alligators to bunnies to crocodiles to dinosaurs to all these adventures. I got to do them in my mind, but you actually physically make these things happen, all these magical things. It must be so much fun.
It is. It is. It is so much fun. And I am not. I'm not. I don't feel like I'm jaded because every day I go to work or every day I get to do something, I feel like the luckiest person in the world. I see my name on a call sheet and I go, wow, I am working in Hollywood again. They've actually let me back in the door. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. It is that much fun. But listen, there's only one key to being a success in film, but in anything really, in writing everything, and it's persistence and determination. Those alone are omnipotent. You don't stop. If your writing is bad, you don't stop writing. You keep writing. You make that writing better, and you just keep working at it. I mean, anyone will tell you it takes 10,000 hours to become a professional at anything. Whatever you're doing. It could be anything. But to be really proficient and an expert in that, that's what it takes. Now, if I look at my union, I have right now, I'm at about 42,000 hours in the film business.
Wow, that's stunning. Wow, people love you. They love you. Your work is also stunning too. Like Lizzie McGuire, Wizards of Waverly Place, Mystic Pizza, Lab Rats. Oh my gosh, you've done so many fun props. It's like you're an inventor also, right?
It is. It is like I'm an inventor, and especially today, It's so much more fun today. And I've gone over the decades, so I know what it was like back then. But like today, we can use 3D printing to make our props, and that allows us to replicate things very quickly, and accurately. From drawings, as opposed to doing a clay mold and a clay sculpture, and making a mold of that in latex and a positive, and which is the traditional way of doing it, and still done. When you're doing makeup prosthetics or anything like that, that has to be done old school. There's no fast way. There's no fast way unless you're doing CG, computer graphics, to get it done. But I think it's really important to know how it was done old school. I mean, if you look at Star Wars and how they did remember the scroll of the words up the screen.
Yeah.
Well, that was done. They filmed a monitor doing that. That wasn't done in the computer. It was just done physically. They scrolled it up on a monitor and filmed it. It's about as old school as you can get. I mean, some of the tricks that they used to do. If you saw a Close Encounters of the Third Kind, amazing film by Steven Spielberg about extraterrestrials visiting us. They had a scene where clouds were rolling in over the landscape, in a giant landscape. And the way they did that was with a giant tank of water, and they poured a tube of paint in the tank, and the paint settled onto an acetate sheet and fanned out, and that's what made the clouds.
Wow, that's an invention. Those are inventing things. Those are like really great.
Yes, that had not been done before. I mean, that was a pioneering effect, back in its day. Just like 2001: A Space Odyssey, all the effects they did were absolutely groundbreaking, pioneer effects, and we have built our careers and technology based on those movies, based on those pioneering effects, on those pioneering talents of the time. We have created what we have now. Yes, a lot of it's CG, a lot of it's computer graphics, but there's a lot more that goes into doing that than you might think. For instance, when we did Lyle Crocodile this year, or we actually shot it last year, I made 3D crocodiles as big as 3 foot high.
Oh wow!
Yeah, to do it, and it was fun. I mean, that's the kind of thing I'd never done before. So I pushed my envelope in doing that, And then you have this entire visual effects department that comes in, and then they have their own way of doing things, which was very new for me. You know, they bring in all these different objects to reflect light and to capture light and to balance it with the CG that they're gonna do in post processing. And it was a really amazing process to watch that happen. And we worked with Joe Bauer, who did The Mandalorian and, you know, and other amazing things. He was our visual effects supervisor, but he's no Academy Award winning special effects supervisor. I think he's Academy Award winning, but he should be if he's not.
Oh, well, we got to have Ken on the show too. Please tell him.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So, do you work hand in hand with special effects, right?
Oh, absolutely. Well, now let's define the difference between special effects and visual effects.
Okay.
Right? Visual effects are things that we do after the movie is done, really.
Okay.
Special effects are things that happen while we're filming. They're really physical effects, like rain or fire, or, you know, anything that, you know, something explodes. Right, exactly, explodes, or, you know, an air cannon, you know, releases debris. That's what special effects is. And yes, we work extremely closely because we work on set. All of our stuff works in the front of the camera as well as theirs. So we coordinate with them a tremendous amount. Like, for instance, when you're doing Nickelodeon stuff, slime was my major. I love slime. Give me more slime any day of the week.
How fun. You get to play with slime. Oh.
Yes. Gallons of slime. Well, get to kill Katie Carey with slime.
Well, I've got a character named Blueber Goober, and he's all slimy, so I'd love to see him. Maybe one day you'll make him for me, Blueber Goober. He's like blue slime all over.
Love it.
Yeah. So you're having so much fun doing all these great things. Is there like, okay, so you've done like you started to go back into film, right? And so how was that like working on the film? Like it was live action with who was in it? Anthony Bourdain. Javier Bardem. Love him.
And Constance Wu from Fresh Off the Boat.
Oh wow. Yeah. I just remember Javier Bardem, whoever did the styling of that hair and No Country for Old Men, right? Well,
Oh my God! And yes, did you see him as Des Darnaz in Dead Lucy?
I didn't get to see him do that yet.
Oh,
the hair,
so good! You should watch. Yes, he's amazing in that, Merlin. You have to watch that. It's absolutely amazing.
Okay, and I Love Lucy. You know, my mom is like the Italian I Love Lucy because she makes you laugh with her stuff. She'll be like, "I've got a hernia," and you're like, "What's a hernia? Like a hernia?" You know, like you mean a broken English. But you know, an Old Country for
No Country for Old Men.
Oh man, yes, that like thing, that like breathing thing.
That prop, let me tell you.
The prop, right?
Let's talk about that prop because that was. Because I don't know who did the movie, but as a property master, when we go to films, well, certainly when I go to films, I'm always studying those. I'm not your average moviegoer, you know, when I'm going to film, and it's a detriment because, you know, I do enjoy films, and you know, but yes, I pick them apart. But when I saw No Country for Old Men and I saw that prop, I was just like, and I believe that is one of the top 10 props of movie history. I think it's on the top 10 list.
Wow, are you kidding me? What are like? Do you know the other ones?
I think it is.
I didn't even know there was a top 10. Yeah, well,
I have a lot of my a lot of my friends worked on Robin Miller, who worked on Forrest Gump, and Addams Family. Oh, that was the Addams Family. Was one of the most amazing pictures. My friend Robin Miller, this was in the early 90s, and it was shooting at Hollywood Center Studios on stage 3 and 8. And I went onto the set a few times with him and got to go in the house, in the Addams Family house, in the big giant foyer with the giant stairs going up to the sides and the train room and the garden. What was the greenhouse with all the dead plants in it. Was so cool. And I got to play with remember there was the Chinese finger torture that clamped onto your. Yes, I got to play with that actual prop. You know, at the time, but he created some amazing things. But Robin Miller also did Castaway, and you know, a lot of Forrest Gump, like I said, and Addams Family, a lot of major pictures. He's retired now, but a wonderful friend, and made some absolutely one of my, I would say, definitely one of my mentors, one of the people that I looked up to and that taught me how to do things too.
Wow, I didn't know there was a top 10 prop movie list. What do you remember any other ones? Adam Family?
Oh, sure. It would be it would be the top from Inception.
Inception. What was the top?
It was a spinning top.
Oh,
It was very, very, very prominent. Now, like if these lists who were chosen by my peers, and others like us. So we're not looking for the funny. We're looking for the thing that really, really sings.
it makes the movie is instrumental for the movie.
Well, most people don't. Props, kind of become incidental. You don't notice them. If you don't notice them, then we're doing our job. They should blend as seamlessly into the story as an actor does in his character or a setting does, in its scene. Our props have to mesh with all of that. And you'll find a lot of prop masters, and we have we're a very, very tight group of people. We feel that we should be honored at the Academy Awards along with the production designer, set deck, and the set decorator, because we are equal with a set decorator.
Yeah, so how come, who picks it, what gets in and who doesn't?
Well, that's the Academy.
That's got to change.
We are trying.
Come on, really Academy. It's because it's art. This is pure art. You're actually creating things, like a physical, you're like a sculpture. It's like something real you could pick up, and people remember the costume, yes, the hairstyle, but they also remember those props too. Like you said, the top 10. Was it the Forrest Gump's bench, or what was for Forrest Gump?
I don't know I'm not sure if there was anything from Forrest Gump.
It must be the bench, because everyone goes to Georgia to look for it. But they said it's a bench they put there, and it's not a bus stop bench. They put it there only for the movie.
Oh yeah. Well, you'll find that I love when you look at when you can see comparisons of how it looked for the movie and how it looks now. If you've ever seen those comparison pictures, they're wonderful. Like if you look at the Back to the Future, where the Lions estates were, where Marty McFly lived, it was a cornfield. They put those pillars there. It's a nothing.
Wow.
And actually, this is wonderful. One of the people I work for, a dear friend of mine, has built has a actual time machine DeLorean that he's built.
Wow, that is so cool. Oh,
from a DeLorean. Yes. It's Kevin Hubble, a very close friend of mine. He is and a genius, and another prop master, and a genius prop master. He got a DeLorean. His dream was always to buy a DeLorean and make it into a time machine, and he did. It's amazing.
It reminds me, there's some movie about the time machine, a TV series, but
there's an old TV series called Time Tunnel, very, very old. But let's not date ourselves there, Marilyn.
Okay. I'll use my young voice. Hi, everybody. How you doing? Then they think you're really young, and they meet you and oh, she's a little bit old. She's over that 30-year-old age. Yes, indeed. You got to build a prop that makes us look young, and make me look younger.
They're called filters.
Oh, please give me those filters, the ring lights and filters. Can you take away this? Remember those movies with that man had a wife and he wanted the young face on his wife, so he needed the young person to put the face on there. It was all those creepy horror.
Oh, I know. I'm trying to think which one. There were so many of them because the old Twilight Zone did something like that too.
Oh, it just creeped me out so much.
Yeah, very, very creepy.
They were going to take the face of her and put it on his wife. I guess it was dead, or he's keeping her alive, and they lived with the prop. Or Frank's hey, so what would be your dream film to do? Have you done period pieces or castles or Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I literally have done every kind of period, from Western to science fiction. I was not as a property master, but I've been working on Westworld. I worked on This Is Us. And that's the way Hollywood works most of the time. Those of us that you get these connections, and as a property master, an assistant property master, you'll have downtime. When you have downtime, if you want to work, you call your friend and say, hey, I'm available to day play. You just call a bunch of your friends, and all the time we always get days when we need an extra person or two people, and you go in and you work for those days, and that's called day playing. And that's a lot of ways that people just keep the ball rolling and keep your hours up and things like that. But I know a lot of people. I try and really impart as much wisdom as I can to those who are entering the business, because it's such a tough business, and and there are thousands of people that want to do this. Thousands of people that want to do this.
Hundreds of thousands, millions of people, millions.
Millions. And I'm incredibly lucky and grateful to have had such a long career as I've had in this business. And that's really what the book is about. My book sums up, a 40 plus year career working in the motion picture business.
Yeah.
And
speaking of us, can you share anything, little hints about it a little bit? I kind of gave them a little sneak peek.
It's going to be, well, here's what's unique about it. First of all, every book you read about Hollywood is either about a dishing book or about a star, and if it's from someone like us, it's a nonfiction book and they'll give their experiences of what it's like to work in Hollywood, and behind the cameras. And that's all great stuff. Everyone wants to read that. But this is a tale of fiction, and it's a fable. And it takes place in the fictional place where the only real things are geographical locations. And, we all work for big corporations, no matter what. No matter how small you are, whether you're the PA or craft service or the caterer, we're always working for some big corporation. And that big corporation always has an influence on what we do. Now, not directly what we do, but via the writers and the producers, it's all trickles down, right? We're here to work on telling their story. And Great Exploitations has been written from my point of view, from a prop master's point of view, from someone who's actually worked behind the scenes for many years. And I know that there's so many people that are going to be interested in this because it's about a TV writer who battles a giant studio and an entitled starlet. And you have to think, I spent years on Lizzie McGuire, Wizards of Waverly Place, Lab Rats. I've met and been friends with all these people. And I have taken all this knowledge and put this into a book with my experiences. Some of the things that happened to me. I'll give you a small sample, teeny sample. Actress and the actor in a hallway, at the beginning of a scene. The actor has a tray with a sandwich and a glass of grape juice. And when the scene begins, we call action, he inadvertently trips on a fold in the rug, and the glass of grape juice flies through the air and lands smack in the actress's lap, right?
Oh.
Staining her white pants, because everyone knows that grape juice is a stain loving. So, what happens? So that's something I actually wrote in the book. So what would you do in that case? How does that get solved in the moment? Because that's what we do. We solve problems in the moment, and things like that happen constantly. Now, in this particular case, I wrote it in the book, and this has actually never happened, but I made it up because I knew what I made up would happen and what the solution is. Because if you can't wash it out and you don't have another pair, because you have to turn this around quickly. So what you do is you take a hair dryer, you dry it out, and then you spray it with white paint, and you're done.
Wow, did you guys hear that? Like, Abby, you're good. I mean, that's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. Like, you're able to do films with tin, like, especially indie films. Like, we'd be like, okay, oh my gosh, you saved the day. Like, you saved the day.
Well, that's written. Yes, that's what a lot of times. You know what? Sometimes you don't save the day.
Oh.
and you gotta deal with that too. You know what? It's the experience is your best friend, because the more you've worked, the more situations you've encountered, and you know how to handle any particular situation, to get that prop done, to solve the problem. It's about solving the problem. It's about getting that prop in front of the camera, with the least amount of resistance possible.
I was going to ask you, because you said you worked on Westworld, which was really cool and unique, like humans that are these robots. Like, what fun, like, what was that like?
Well, we did. I was like I was describing before. I was day playing on that show.
Yeah.
Show.
Okay.
But I did a lot. I did one of the for the last season. I think for season 3, we were doing a shootout on the Western Street. Or it was like a 1920s gangster style shootout. And that was so much fun. I mean, those are the kinds of things, those are the kinds of days that, even as a day player, that are so much fun, because you get to set and you've got 300 extras that you have to prop up. right? And they're all dressed in period clothes, and I did the same thing for them in the Old West, and then I went back a year later and did the 1920s. So it was really interesting to do both those periods. And you're working up at Melody Ranch on the Western Street, and it's about as Hollywood as you can get. And basically as a prop people, you have like 5 prop people there, and all the extras line up, and we have giant long tables filled with props, and we hand them their props. We take a picture of them. We get their name so that we know we get that prop back at the end of the day.
And handling those pieces of props is like really like it's an incredible job because as an indie filmmaker, this I needed props for an alien movie, and I had FBI and I had sheriff, and I had no idea. Like the guy was like a cop that had all these prop costumes. He brought me over $1,500 worth of prop costumes and equipment. I had to be responsible for each thing. And he said the sheriff badge had like this little star and this thing, and the FBI has this and this. Do you want LA County? Do you want city? Is it there was so much knowledge in detail, and the little things that he gave me. It was like the hardest job because I was director, producer. I had to watch over all the props and costume. I didn't lose anything. We had prop guns, we had sheriff guns, we had the FBI like machine guns. We were shooting under the Hollywood sign. So that was a lot of work. It was very hard and difficult job to keep track of everything. And because I enjoy like directing and producing. I'm the writer, but like the props was just a big giant challenge. It took a lot of work. So what you're doing is very serious, and to just like you said, to take care of all that and organize it, and be responsible for it and do all the props, that's like amazing. That's a lot of work and a lot of like
It is, and most people, I think property, we call it property, is probably one of the least known about departments, just because what we do is like mostly a mystery to everyone. How we go about our jobs and how we decide to do things is always a mystery to people, and sometimes it's a mystery to us. I think and I know we're getting to the end here, but I know there's so many people that want to get in the business, but people ask you, how did you get to props? And unless your father or your parent was a property person and you like to go into it, everyone ever falls into props. You just, or you just realize, oh, that's the only place that I can really get my creative juices going, and still be in the business. So, but and getting in the union is also important, but that takes a lot of work too.
Well, we're looking forward to your book, Great Exploitations, A Hollywood Fable. It sounds like a bestseller. And also your new movie coming out, Lyle, Crocodile. And Ken, where can they keep up with you? Social media, Facebook, or do you have a website? Or
Yeah, I do have a Facebook page. I right now I don't have my website up, but those things are coming. I'm building my platform as we speak, and certainly with the book coming out as soon as I can, you'll be seeing more of them. And I'll get in touch with you, Marilyn. I'll let you know so you can post on your site where people can get in touch.
yeah, I'll put it on the summary of the podcast. And like, do you have a Twitter or Instagram? Or
Yeah,
anything?
you can. It's a Levin KR at KR11. Levin KR at KR11.
You're gonna give me that, and I'll put it in the summary of the podcast. And we just had so much fun. We could talk forever, so you're gonna have to come back. And we'll have you come on as a whenever you like. And I'm sure everyone. I just really thought it was so important to talk about some special skilled people on the movie set and the TV set. That's absolutely important to your storytelling, your film telling, and we're just so happy to have you today on the show, Ken Levin. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Marilyn. I love being on your show, and I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, and everyone, please check out part 1 and part 2 of Ken Levin. And I want to just thank all our listeners. If you take a second, you can support the podcast, PayPal Anonymous Content, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, Storytime Fun, or download the podcast to help us get those downloads. And we love your 5-star reviews. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Until next week, enjoy the episode.